Hey there, welcome to episode 5 of the Buy Me an Update audio program. I'm your host, Dan Hugo. This is the week of some various holidays, and so today's title, Happy Holidays. Let's get on to it. The summary of today's episode available on buymeacoffee.com. Another holiday week this week. The usual winter holidays have aligned. 2 of them have anyway. A couple coming up. I'll say those at the end. Maybe a few others. Interesting times ahead, to be sure, as this year comes to a close. The links for today's episode, as they were last week, a link to my other promotional platform profile, ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/Dan Hugo, and not an affiliate link, but a link to the nasalfreshmd.com device that I've been using, which hopefully is having a positive impact on my voice. It certainly has helped my sinuses out a bit. So if you notice that I'm sounding a little bit better, it's been a little bit hit or miss as the weather is taking a weird turn here in Vegas. The particulates in the air have a profound effect on how I can breathe, and that impacts my voice, strangely enough. Long story, won't get into it. However, that's the device I've been using. It seems to be working. I think it's a work in progress. It will take a couple of weeks to really settle into more sinus health. With that, let's get to last week. We talked startup motivation on Cafe Genius Impresarios, whether you want to start a business for yourself or your investors, basically. If we get right down to it, that's what it's about. Sprints versus marathons on Let's Innovate for Vegas, about our use of Agile for volunteers and not thinking in terms of sprinting, which is common in Scrum and Agile in the Agile Industrial Complex, which many people don't like. Oddly, these two topics sort of fit together. Think about it. Thought experiments on FFS Talk and how many times people do not understand how thought experiments work or why one might participate in one. Quaggling Sand was a self-indulgent recollection of a day I spent in Dublin, Ireland, on my first day out and about during my 5-week stay there for Intel Corporation, my then employer. It's not as fun a story as would take place later, but sort of an odd introduction to the social scene of Dublin. The question about Hugo Floss is in the air, at least here. Should I begin with video and continue down that path, or should episode 0, my usual start to any new series, as you may have noticed, be audio only? And then what should the content focus really be if we assume no guests in early days versus if we do get guests? I'm leaning towards sort of a anything goes format, news of the day, topics driven by participation and any guests and so on. So that's sort of where I'm leaning, but we'll see. Happy holidays. Busy time this time of year. Obviously, Christmas is coming up fast on the usual day. Hanukkah begins on the evening of the 25th and continues to January 2nd. Festivus is today as I record this. Kwanzaa is on 26 December. Boxing Day is also on 26 December, or the first business day following Christmas Day for purposes of bank holidays, if you're in the UK or a few other places. And if you celebrate that here in America, maybe you already have the day off. There are likely many other holidays around this time of year, with the winter solstice having just passed and a variety of cultural and religious additions to the calendar since time immemorial. From here, I can wish you the very best of, for, and on your favorite holiday or holidays. So happy holidays. If you are like me and choose not to celebrate a particular holiday around this time of year, but to simply enjoy the change in weather, the chaos of commercialism, the pause in productivity as people go off on vacations, and the weight gains that come from overeating when none of us really needs to do that. Have a fine time this week, and we'll speak this time next week, right before the festivities of the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day doublet. On that note, 4.5 minutes. We'll trim some silence, hopefully get it down to around 4 minutes. I wish I could speak faster, but play me at 2x. Happy holidays. Cheers.